Yeah.
Some people get so insulted by it now. It's like you would have thought that you just told them that their mother's ugly. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
And we're back.
Hey yo, what's going on?
Hey, so it was really a different one in terms of what we were planning.
This was supposed to be extremely different. I think I mentioned it at the last end of last episode that we were gonna have a guest on the next episode. I can't remember. Guest episode's coming.
A lot of
Just
guest
had a
episodes coming.
lot of guest episodes
Yeah.
coming. We just had some scheduling conflicts, but everything's good. We're pivoting, you know. We're staying in the moment, so it's all good. How you doing, man? Long time no talk.
Doing pretty well. We talked 2 days ago, but it's been a while, man. It's been a while. Today's gonna be a different one. It's gonna be a different one. We talked about our travels last time. This one's gonna be a little different. Caleb says it's not different. We're talking about the power of no.
Oh my
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I thought it was a unique topic because I hear a lot of podcasts and a lot of speeches about the power of yes, and I'm saying no, let's shift that because I feel like there's a lot of power in no, and I feel like many people are often scared to use that word because it's very direct. They find it very rude. But I want to break the stigma down. I don't think that there should be so much stigma around that word, and I feel like that word can bring a lot of people a lot of different values. It can help you focus on different things in your life. So we're talking about the power of no. How do you feel about that topic? You have you said no a lot in your life? Like, are you one to kind of just go
Uh,
with the flow?
I I've definitely said no. I've used that word before. I do kind of just
I
tend
mean,
to go with the flow.
yeah.
What?
I mean, I hope you said no at one point. You're like, I
Shut
definitely
up, man.
have used it in my life. I was like, okay.
But this actually reminds me of a book that I was reading.
Oh, bro.
No, no,
Don't
I'm
roll
kidding.
your
I'm
eyes,
kidding. I'm
man.
kidding.
Don't roll your eyes. And one of the parts in the book was saying no, learning when to say no and learning when to say yes.
Mm,
I think it's a very valid uh, thing to do. Even if it's like a friend saying, "Hey, do you want to go hang out?" but you know you can't,
right.
just say no. It's not a difficult thing. It might be a little uncomfy, but I think there's big power in that.
Yeah. I, we're definitely focusing on like the bigger decisions. It's not like your parents are like, oh, can you fold your like, can you make your bed? Can you do your clothes? No,
No,
mom, no. Like, nah, nah. We're talking about the bigger things. It's all about prioritizing what's important to you, and it's not about saying no to your parents over and over. But I want to get into the struggle because I feel like many of us struggle to say no, even when we want to. Like, have you ever found instances in your life where, like, deep down you don't want to say yes to whatever it is you're saying yes to, but regardless you're like, okay, like I don't want there to be problems. Like I'll say yes.
you're really putting me on the
I'm gonna we're
spot.
gonna we're gonna put you on the spot a lot of times throughout this podcast.
That's actually, oh, that's such difficult. I feel like project groups. Anytime I had to work in a project group, I found a lot I would be the leader or
Mm,
one of the leaders, and I didn't always want to be the leader,
yeah.
but no one else was doing it, and I didn't feel like I could say no.
Right.
That also, I know people who have difficulty only doing their assigned part because other people won't do their part of the project.
Mm,
And instead of saying, "Hey, I've done my part. I did it well. I'm out," they go back in and just going to do all of it. They
yeah.
don't put up their boundaries and then stick to those boundaries.
Right.
I've seen that firsthand.
Yeah. I've often found myself people pleasing a lot. Like I know I kind
Mm,
of briefly mentioned it to you before we started recording, but I'm the type of person to like avoid conflict, and for me to avoid conflict, it's often like saying or agreeing to things that I don't always want to do, which is ironic because on this podcast we're all about preaching moments that are important to us, and oftentimes I'm contributing to moments that other people want to do more than I want to do for myself.
yeah.
So I want to stop being such a hypocrite and advocating something on the podcast while at the same time I'm not preaching what I'm following through with what I'm preaching. um like especially like it used to be like a lot more like before back in the day. I think I've said it publicly a few times in that like I wasn't the biggest fan of like going out in certain groups and like partying super late,
Yes.
and oftentimes I'd be like, no, I don't want to. like I don't want people to like exclude me in the future, so I'm just gonna do it, and like it resulted in me contributing to events that happened that like I wasn't not like proud of, but like I didn't enjoy them, but I would do them regardless because it's like, oh, I want it to fit in, I want them to like me, so I'm not gonna say no, I'm gonna say yes, like okay, let's do it. And I'm pretending like I'm having a good time when in the back of my mind I know I'm just freaking like wasting my time and doing something I don't enjoy doing. So
Well, the worst feelings when you're out, I've had this before at like a party or just doing something,
yeah,
and you want to be at home so bad. You're like, I could be watching a sporting game, or I could be in bed, or I could be doing something at my house, being comfortable, which is where I actually want to be, or with people I actually want to be hanging out with, instead of this group of buffoons.
yeah.
Not calling anyone a specific buffoon or anything like that.
Ty, he's talking about you, man.
I'm not talking about Ty. I love Ty. Ty now trying to start fighting. This is not my doing. I've known Ty for much too long. I'm not. I love hanging. I no. He's not a
No.
buffoon. No.
I also feel like there's two parts to the story. One's saying no, and the other one's receiving a no. And I feel like
Mm. Oh yes.
why is receiving a no like we treat it so harshly when someone says no, but I feel like there's
Oh,
a lot of lessons you can gain from rejection, and
I can.
I feel
I can.
like
I got stories on
we'll,
this.
we'll get into it. We've all been single at one point or another, but it's that fear of rejection. We've talked about rejection a few times that have stopped so many of us from chasing what it is we wanted to chase, or saying hi to that person sitting next to you, or making long lasting memories because we're afraid of people saying no. And who cares if they say no? You can learn from it. Maybe it didn't go. Maybe that person is just genuinely like not interested or doesn't want any, like doesn't care for it. Ask the next person. Maybe they are more interested. It's nothing to do with you. It's often just a more mental battle you face.
Yeah.
What
There
were you wanted to say?
was. So one is all about this podcast. I tend to try to find guests. That's
Mm,
one of the responsibilities I have here. And so that requires me emailing and messaging. I've probably messaged over 70 people at this point. Like anybody I can think of, I'm throwing a message out, an email. I'm hunting down their contact if they have a management group. Like I'm going everywhere
yeah.
to try to find people to ask. And when I first started doing this, I was like, I'm only asking people that definitely 100% do not know me. Like I
Mm,
want no correlation with this person. I don't, because if they say no, I just want to be okay, that's fine.
yeah.
And recently, I asked someone who I look up to a lot, was a big inspiration to me just being in the creative industry, who I really want to have on.
Yeah.
And they said no in a very polite way, wished me all the best, offered support behind the scenes.
Mm,
But at this point, they didn't, they're just not doing interviews in general.
right.
And at first, it's like, okay, that sucks. Like, I really want this person on. They're awesome. They do great work. This would
Mm,
be such a cool conversation. I have so much stuff I want to ask them. But at the same time, I respected the fact that they knew what aligned with their work, and what we're talking about saying no, they know, okay, this doesn't fit with what I'm doing.
yeah.
So I'm not even going to waste their time in trying to say yes or no or whatever.
Right.
I'm going to get right to the point that right now, this doesn't line up with my stuff,
Mm,
and I'm going to protect what I'm doing,
yeah.
which I think is the biggest thing when you get to saying no.
Yeah.
But they weren't a dick about it. They weren't rude.
Right.
Super, super nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate the message because most of the time I don't hear anything.
Mm,
And so that has been built up because I've heard people say, thanks for the message. We appreciate the kind words. But right now, unfortunately, we're not looking to do that
yeah.
100 times. And I
Right.
mean, because when you take that, and then I do videography work basically,
Right.
that's a job. And that requires a lot of reaching out to potential clients
Mm,
to work with. And a lot of the time, it's no, we're not looking into that right now.
yeah.
And it sucks because you could just be like, okay, yeah, everyone hates me. No one wants to do this.
Right.
But no, you can actually learn from it. And maybe my pitch wasn't good. Maybe I wasn't as prepared as I should have
Yeah.
been. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong industry.
Right.
Maybe there's a different route that I need to take. What
Yeah.
are these people all saying the same thing? Are they all saying no for the exact same reason? So instead of just crying about it and being upset, I try to look at it through an educational perspective. What
Right.
can I learn? And then what can I pick up from that? Because
Yeah.
some people get so insulted by it now. It's like you would have thought that you just told them that the mother's ugly. It's the weirdest thing in the. It's the weird. I'm sorry. It's the weirdest thing in the world, though. That's a little
That's
catch you off guard
that's a
there.
funny example. Yeah, I was not
But
expecting that.
you know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
Some people get so offended, and we can get on the topic because you were talking about people approaching other people. You know, if you're single, and some people, especially a lot of guys, get so offended if they're turned down.
yeah,
And just like you could say, okay, sorry, thanks, and then move on with your life.
yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. Who cares that this random person that you didn't know 5 seconds ago, that you still don't know, said they're not interested?
Right.
It doesn't matter. Just
Yeah.
move on. Don't be a bum about it.
I've grown to appreciate the no so much more, especially like as we're applying to jobs. Because it's like, would you rather receive a no and a rejection, or would you rather be like left hanging and not knowing? Because it's like, you apply to
Yeah.
jobs. Shout out those who are in the job market right now. And it's like I would so much rather hear, oh, sorry, we're going to move forward with other applicants, or like, oh, this position has been filled, we're not going to move forward with your applicant, versus not hearing anything at all and like wondering like, oh, did I go wrong? Like,
Mhm.
am I selected? And it's like, wouldn't you want to
There's
hear no in that instance?
there's also the job market's not great right
No,
now. We all know
no,
that.
it's not.
But I know people who still protect what they know that they're good at. And if they get a job offer from a shady place or a questionable place, or they don't, they're not going to just say yes because they think that they have to say yes.
Mm,
They're still protecting that. I don't even, it's not peace, but they're protecting that part of themselves. So you're not going to just shell yourself out just because you're looking for a paycheck,
yeah.
right? It's very difficult. Like, that's such a difficult balance because some people need work.
Mm,
But if you're in a position where you can protect yourself and you can say yes and you can say no, I mean, that's what you want.
yeah.
That it just it gets difficult. Like, what is the right thing to say yes to?
Right.
What's the wrong thing to say? If you have multiple job offers, which one am I going to say yes to? I'm going to have to say no to something else. I feel like that's
Um,
super difficult to deal with.
Yeah, quick story time because I feel like it's kind of based on that. I kind of got like, it was like a job offer like a few months back. It was for like a data analyst position. It was something that I was like kind of interested in, not like fully, like I was looking at the job requirements, wasn't fully interested in. I got a message on LinkedIn, turned out to be a scam.
Oh,
Um, and it was like, oh, we saw your, because it's like I was applying to similar roles, and it's like, oh, we saw your application. We were wondering if you could answer a few questions. Asked me like a page of like 13 questions. I was talking to a bot, Caleb. Like, I was so embarrassed looking back, and I answered
oh
all of
no.
these 13 questions in detail. I was doing my shift at like I work at a youth center. I was doing my shift there, and I was answering this question. Like, that my coworker was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, like I think I got something." It was like 45 dollars US an hour. That like should have triggered something in my head, because I was like, "Why are you offering me a US job? Why is this random person reaching out to me? Like, I'm sure as hell not qualified for other people to reach out to me with a $60 Canadian job." Answered all the questions. In the end, I was like, this is getting too fishy. Found the actual person's LinkedIn account, who, like, I guess their account got taken over, messaged them. I was like, is this legit? They're like, no, someone took over my account. And I was like, oh my goodness. I
That's brutal.
spent like 40 minutes sending my application to this bot of a position I didn't really want, but I was like, I was just willing to take anything I got, that I was blinded by the position to look at, like, is this something I want to do, and or is this actually a legit offer? Turned out it was
Mhm.
neither. And
I've had so many scam offers. I've had at this point it's over 10.
yeah,
Or just either on LinkedIn messages, a very popular one,
right.
or I'll get a direct text message
Yeah.
and like, hey, we found your, and it seems legit because it's such in detail. But you go online and you search up this company text message and you'll
Yeah.
see
Like the
hundreds
Reddit
of people.
posts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Reddit post saying, no, this is a scam. And so like, I mean, if you just want to say, I was so sick and tired of that, that is why I'm basically working for myself at this point in time.
Uh,
Because it's fucking,
Dude.
it's tough,
It's
man.
kind of embarrassing, especially for me, because I've taken cybersecurity training and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm part of the IT department. Like, if there's something fishy going on, you're supposed to
Yeah.
send it to me. And like,
You're
here I
not
am.
some senior citizen
I'm over
here.
here like, oh, yes, I would like to donate to the Nigerian princess. But
That's funny.
let's shift the tables. I have a question for you. What happens, or who do you become if you choose to say yes all the time? And like, sort of like, what does it cost you?
You become someone who can't do anything. you can't live up to your what you're saying that you're going to do.
Mm.
I found this when you start working, especially if you're working for yourself or for one person, small company, whatever. The responsibility is quite literally all on you,
Right.
right? If you're going to have a client, if you're going to do the work, whatever that needs to be done, it's on you. So if you just keep saying yes, and this applies to anyone in any type of job. If you just keep saying yes and taking on more and more and more, well, guess what happens to your original work? It becomes less and less and less quality. It becomes poo because you can't do it. You're so overrun thinking that you need to have a ton of bad quality work instead of a smaller amount of great quality work,
Yeah.
right? You and I, we could try to do 7 episodes a week here, and we could post like a 20-minute episode every day. But I would bet that the quality of those episodes would not be very good because we don't have as much time. There's the balance of grinding and working hard and really pushing the limits and just doing something you can't do, and then your work suffers. And maybe
Right.
you can do it for a short period of time. Maybe you're really good at like going to the limit for a month, but in 3 months now you're having nervous breakdowns, you're stressed out all the time, your cortisol levels are shot to hell, you can't sleep, and all of this stuff starts to happen because you just can't say no. But it's not just us not being able to say no, it's the environment. It's the workforce. It's what I feel like every job is. We're just bred to, oh, you have to just take on more and more and more and more,
Yeah.
whatever they give you. You're an entry level job, you're a junior position, you just got to grind and grind and grind.
Mm.
Back in my day, how the saying goes. And so yeah, if people want to do that, by all means. But if you don't want to do that, do great quality work in your designated section, and then that's that.
Yeah.
I don't see why that's such a con what the hell
You
is
got
that?
it. No, you got it. You got it.
Controversial topic.
There it is. The
As
graduate speaks.
university graduate.
Um, in previous episodes, there was a quote that we said, and it was that every action you take kind of builds upon your identity. And it's like if you continue to go with the flow and say yes to things that you truly don't want to do, then you're building this false sense of identity that you, looking back on, won't be proud of, because at the end of the day, they weren't actions that you made leaps for, or actions that you wanted to do. They were actions that someone else kind of imposed or you kind of went along with. And I feel like that's so important, because then we reach moments where we look back and it's like, am I the person who I wanted to be? No, because you said yes to so many things you didn't want to do.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, if you want to achieve something that most people won't, you have to do things that most people won't, right?
Bingo.
And I think a prime example of this is when you go out with your friends and you're like, okay, I need to get up early tomorrow morning. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I have all these plans, very important. I need to get that done. I should go home now, or I should go home at this specific set time and say, no, I'm good. I had a great time for that specific amount. I'm out now.
Yeah.
And being able to draw the line. Yeah, your friends might continue to go and have a great time. You had a good time, you participated, but you also know it's important. If you want to achieve, if you want to build that business, or you want to, I don't know, if you want to get in good shape, or if you want, whatever is important to you, then you have to prioritize things. If there's a job that you really enjoy doing, that you want to continue to do a good job at, well, you have to make priorities.
Yeah. It also results in a lack of, you don't want to burn out. And I feel like a lot of people burn out when they take on a little bit too much. Like, you have to be mindful of the things that you're taking on. Eventually, if you take on too many things, you're going to start disregarding some of the things that may be important to you.
Yeah, I don't even care who you are. That's going to happen, regardless of how successful you are.
Right.
You think the most successful people in the world are doing everything? No. Now, bear in mind, a lot of the most successful people have done that at one point. But why don't they continue to do that? Because they know what they're good at, they know their priorities, and they get other people to do the things that they suck at or not quite good at.
Yeah.
You fill the gaps. Focus on your priorities.
Yeah. Fill the gaps. Remember that?
Hey, we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Stay
I was editing
liquid.
that. I saw it.
Stay liquid, man.
It's not rejection. It's redirection. It's no doesn't always mean like, oh, I'm not going to do, or I'm not going to associate myself anything to do with whatever it is you're proposing. It's like, okay, maybe not this, but like we can do some sort of variation on this. Like there's so many times where me and you have to compromise because it's like, okay, this, I like this idea from you, Nav, but it's like I don't quite see it. What if we do this? That's like kind of incorporates your idea, it kind of incorporates my idea and what I'm thinking. It's shifting something, and then you, at the end of the day, you're proud of what it is you accomplished because you were instrumental, and it was still your idea that is still like came to fruition.
Yes.
I also want to shed light on the fact that if everyone and every instance in your life you received a yes, then those yeses become less and less meaningful. I feel like it's so important. Like a lot of people celebrate these internships and these new jobs because you've received so many rejections, and when you finally get that yes, it's like, holy, look at all the stuff I've been through. Like I've had so many like coffee chats when I'm trying to meet people in the industry, and they're like talking about how they felt when they finally got that yes, and they're showing me this giant Excel sheet of all these rejections that they received, and I'm like, no wonder you were so happy, because look at all the things that you had to get over, all the no's you had to bounce back from to finally get to where you are now. Do you feel like no is a complete sentence?
Yes.
You know who agrees with you?
Who?
Anne Lamott. Anne Lamott agrees and says no is a complete sentence. I don't know. I feel like, because I'm the type of person to always sugarcoat a no. It's
Yes.
never like, oh, it's like, can you do it? No. It's like, oh, okay, like I would, like if I could, but like unfortunately right now, like my schedule's a little busy. Or it's like always like something, it's like I'm beating around the bush. At the end, I'm going to say no, because it's like I don't want it to come out. And I feel like I don't have to do that, but it's like, it's who I've been for so long. Again, like it goes back to me people pleasing. It's like, rather than me being like, nah, I don't think that aligns with what I want to do. It's like, like maybe next time you can reach out to me, I might be able to.
Okay,
But at the end,
I have a very specific story about that. So I've been doing a lot of networking, meeting as many people as I possibly can in and around the industry I want to be in, right? I think you've been doing the same thing
Right.
with your industry. And I was on a call with some guy last week, and he had this business idea that he wanted to do. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you, I had no interest in it. Like I didn't see the vision. I didn't know where it was going. It didn't make much logistically, I didn't know how it would work. It was basically what I am doing, but for like no money. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Now, did I say, hey, I don't have any interest in
volunteering, pish posh, you'll throw that away.
this? Okay, no, I volunteer, but you know exactly what I mean.
I get it.
And did I say, no, I'm going to pass on this opportunity? No. I said, yeah, it sounds interesting. I'll think about it and I'll get back to you. I knew full well I was going to say no.
Yeah.
I got off that Zoom call or that team, whatever it was, and I looked at my girlfriend. I said, yep, that's not happening. Instantly. I knew it. I knew it while he was, I knew it within the first 10 minutes of talking to him that this was just not going to be a thing that I did.
Yeah.
I know people relate to that. I know people go in for job interviews for a position, they think it's a certain way, and then all of a sudden the job is way different. It's not what they, and like, I have no interest in this. Do I just say this is not going to work out, or do I just sit here and waste everyone's time? That's a big balance there.
Yeah.
Because it might be a little rude, but maybe some people will appreciate my directness if I do it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
It's always different. I did tell the guy that eventually it wasn't going to work. Yeah, I waited for him to text me.
See, you do it too. Yeah, look at you. I say no. I don't even sugarcoat it. I just say no. You were on a call that you didn't want to be on a call for.
That's actually true. I completely forgot about this. That is true. I
Um,
don't know what it is. Is it part of it? Maybe is because I don't have. I would presume that someone of higher status, longer has been in the industry longer, maybe a little bit more successful.
right.
Maybe they will say no a lot more frequently and a lot
Yeah.
more easier because they don't need to worry about it. I don't want to say no or come off rude because maybe that gets around.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit, man. All right. Well, this was a little spontaneous because we had other plans originally, but I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think it was solid. Drop a comment any times you've been scared to say no, and let us know any goals or any dreams you're wanting to protect from any future no's. I don't know if you want to share your dreams on the comments of a podcast, but
also check us out Instagram, TikTok.
It's gonna get better.
The
The
clips are
content's gonna get
improving.
better. The content's
Hey,
gonna.
we know, we've heard, we're not doing enough. We know, we're gonna get better, man.
We're gonna get better.
We're gonna say no to things that don't matter, and we're gonna get better. All right, that's Nav. This is Caleb. You have been watching Life in Moments. We appreciate you so very greatly. Thank you for saying yes to watching this episode.
Ah, that's good. I like that.
We'll see you next
Don't
week.
say no for the future ones.
That's true. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See ya.